All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our discussion, our panel this evening. My name is Gretchen Theakston, and I'll be your facilitator this evening. We have some amazing women here to have a great discussion on balancing the masculine and feminine in all of us. And what I'd like to do is hand it over to each of our panelists. We have Hope Clark. If you can give us 30 seconds about who you are and what you do.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. My name is Hope Clark. I come to you from sunny Orlando, Florida. Married for 19 years, 3 daughters, middle school, high school. I am a certified essential oil specialist. My journey of change began years and years ago. I was raised in a racially separatist cult and left when I was a young adult and found essential oils as a young mother. Transformed the health in our family, and it gave me an access to emotional healing. And then I took a wonderful personal development course called the Avatar course. I'm now a licensed Avatar master, and so I focus on physical health, emotional health, and personal development. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Hope. It's lovely to have you here. Leslie, if you could give us a little bio on who you are.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for having me here. I'm coming to you from Barcelona, Spain, but I'm originally from Los Angeles, California. I've been living in Europe for, I think, 16 years now. I stopped counting, originally in London, and married with 2 kids as well, middle school and high schooler. And I help women unleash and lead in their feminine power so that they can be happy and free to live a life of purpose and pleasure.
Thank you, Leslie. It's great to have you here. Donna, if you can introduce yourself for us.
Yes. Hi, I am known out in the world as the Mind Whisperer because what I do is I reprogram your subconscious brain to get you the results, typically an increase in your profit 25% or more consistently. But what I also do a lot of is I talk a lot about relationships and connected relationships, which has to do with love and how it affects our health as well. And a large part of that is not only balancing who you are with your own masculine and feminine energy, but who you are in the context role with your partner, regardless of the gender connotation, because there's always a masculine, there's always a feminine in all relationships. And it's always coming down to that internal balance. And so that's part of what I share out in the world. And I come to you from Montana.
Thanks, Donna. It's great to have you here. So the first question I have, I'd like to address to Leslie. What are the primary ways we can identify whether we are working in our feminine and our masculine energy?
Yeah, great kickoff. So as Donna had mentioned, regardless of gender, we both have masculine and feminine energies running through us, even Mother Earth. And so it's really about identifying, having that awareness of what's the unhealthy, what's the healthy, masculine and feminine, because there is both. And what's been happening for so long is that it's been very imbalanced. And so that feminine way, that feminine energy is more about engaging in your emotions. It's about collaboration over competition. It's about empowerment versus power over. Whereas the unhealthy masculine, what we call also the patriarchy, is about no pain, no gain, nose to the grindstone, linear focused, and not engaging in your emotions. So while it's important to have, be stable and have goals and take action, what we're seeing is that way is not sustainable. And so we want to be able to know when it's time to go and when it's time to flow. So again, it's about really balancing that healthy masculine and healthy feminine.
Thank you. I'd like to have Jan. Hi, Jan. Can you unmute yourself? I'm Gretchen, and we're here talking about the masculine feminine balance in all of us. And could you give us a quick bio so the people that are here watching us can find out who you are?
Certainly. Good morning, ladies. Lovely to be here. I apologise for my late arrival. Ta-da! My computer wasn't playing nice this morning, but I am finally here. My name is Jan, and I am an ordained priestess of the Divine Feminine. I teach women tools of healing modalities, especially to recover from trauma. I'm a staunch feminist, eco-feminist, death doula. The list goes on. Thank you for allowing me to be here, and I'd love to catch up with what's been said briefly. Thank you.
Well, thank you for coming to join us, Jan. It's really lovely to have you here. Can I ask how you identify the balance between male and female, and how we would identify that in ourselves?
Well, I'm here to put the cat amongst the pigeons, because I don't believe that we can balance the masculine and feminine within ourselves, and I don't believe it's necessary at all. We are women. I don't see that we do have any masculine within us at all, and I believe that our femininity in itself may have masculine aspects. However, being caught up in a gender role and actually putting genders in a box, to me, is rather hard to understand. I believe the feminine is here to balance the masculine in the world. However, we need to heal ourselves first before we try to heal the masculine in the world. So I don't actually agree with it at all.
Thank you. Donna, what do you think about what Jan has thrown into our discussion?
On some level, yes, she's right, because to balance your internal masculine and feminine energy has absolutely nothing to do with gender, but it has everything to do with how your brain works. Now, we have two hemispheres in our brain. We have a left brain and a right brain. The left brain is considered a masculine brain. This is your action-oriented, linear, sequential, step-by-step, logical side. You want to do something, you put it out in the world. So for me, that is creation, because you're putting your manifestation out into the world creation-wise. The feminine side, which is your right side of the brain, it is very intuitive, nurturing, emotional, ideas, creativity, inspiration. So you have to have that. To me, that's manifesting. So we go and we manifest for something, and when we exert it out into the world, we create it. So if you think about all of the great philosophers, the people that were the inventors of our lifetimes, they had a thought, they had an idea, they had an inspiration, regardless of gender. So they were active in their feminine brain. But when they took those steps to put it out into the masculine, into the creation world, it came to life. So think about the telephone, think about lights, think about anything that has been there, regardless of who created it. It came from the person, because they were using both of their sides of the brain to create that internal wholeness. What happens, I think, in our world, in our society, is we get in that masculine orientation, and we run around and we do without stopping and checking in with our inner self, going, am I on the right track? Am I on the right course? And the world roles is, you have to keep doing, but don't dare sit down, don't take a rest, don't meditate, don't do any of these other things to connect, to make sure you're on the right track. And I think that's the balance that we have to restore out in the world first, individually, and embrace the feminine side, like Jan was saying, so you know you're on track for the action steps that you're taking. And then when you are balanced internally first, then you can learn how to balance with a partner, regardless of their gender. And it all has to do with what type of brain and the dominant side of our masculine and our feminine brain. And I do write about this. It's in my international best-selling book, Financially Fit, Living the Secrets to an Abundant and Prosperous Life. And I have an article coming out for Best Holistic Life titled She Who Makes the Goal Rules the Bedroom. And it talks about this internal balance specifically.
Thank you. Hope, in your own life, how do you see masculine and feminine energy working around you and with you?
It's interesting. I love hearing what everyone's saying here tonight. And it is so interesting to be I tell my children pretty often, hey, remember, we're spirit beings having a physical experience in these bodies. Like, this vessel isn't you. This vessel is what you're walking around in. And so I have 3 daughters, and I'm married to a very strong ex-football player, alpha, very masculine energy kind of individual. And it's interesting to see how different forms of the energy move in different times of the day. Like noticing when we're being more direct or more assertive or more competitive, and noticing when we're taking a step back and being more introspective, tuning in with what's happening, what am I feeling, what are they feeling. I work with essential oils a lot, and I work with individuals and families who are leveraging essential oils to work with the limbic brain to be able to release trauma or release pent-up emotions or be able to shift their mental state. And so that whole right hemisphere versus left hemisphere that Donna was talking about, I work in that realm all the time, talking about cleaning off the cell receptor site and about recognizing which side of the brain you're working on, and then what we want to do to shift out of that space and into the new space. Like, what energy do you want to be working in right now? And recognizing that we have a choice. We can decide to leverage whichever energy would best produce the result we need to experience or we want to experience. At least that's how I find it in my day. You know, when I've reached the end of the day, I can check in and say, do I need to lean into masculine energy and get the kitchen cleaned, get the kids' clothes laid out, write a to-do list for tomorrow? Or do I choose to lean into feminine energy and nurture, sit on the couch, hug my kids, paint the toenails, sit and hold my husband's hand? And being able to recognize that I believe we can be deliberate about leveraging energies. At least that's how I'm experiencing it in my life.
Thank you. Jen, do you think there are any consequences to living too much in the feminine energy or the masculine energy as we go through our lives? Or is it a shared flow state that we experience?
I believe it's a shared flow space and an individual thing. Going back to balance once again, I have an issue with the words feminine and masculine in this narrative, because the feminine, what I'm hearing is the feminine is soft and yielding and flowing, and the masculine is doing and thinking and progressing and creating. But that's not true. We are who we are, and our brains are our brains. And thinking back in history of how many women were very, very assertive, how many of us were warriors, how many of us have to become righteously angry for a cause. Is that masculine? Or is it us just being us? I mean, we do what we have to do as very, very strong women. And sometimes we have to be the father and the mother, have our careers as well. But is it right to have a narrative to say, today I'm bringing in the masculine energy because that's what I need. Today I'm bringing in my energy as a spirit being in my body, and I have all this intuition, I have all this kindness and compassion, but also mixed with strength and vitality to bring forth my creations. We are creative beings. We give birth. We create so much in our lives as females that I don't think we need to actually call in certain gender aspects to be who we are meant to be. I think we get caught up in putting things in boxes and labeling, when if we look at each other as a whole, we look at ourselves as a whole. What aspects do I need to bring today? What aspects of me do I have to stand up and be strong in this situation and be assertive because I'm being walked over because I am a female? So there's so much passion here for me, and I understand not everyone has that, but I do, coming from a point of view of a lot of female trauma in the world, and that needs to be healed first. So I'm very passionate about non-gender and putting things in boxes. So that's where I come from. We can find balance without putting a label on it or a name on it. And we can work with the patriarchy, but bring ourselves up to meet them, not to be underneath them, but also recognizing that we have all that without pulling on the masculine. We have that anyway. We don't have to call it anything. We have that anyway.
So how would you like to address these energies that we're speaking about tonight?
What kind of energies were you talking about?
Well, we're
Masculine
labeling,
energies.
yeah, we're labeling it like, I actually agree with you. I don't think that there should be energies that are male or energies that are female. And I'm struggling to find a place where both of those can meet and we can still continue to share them as human beings, regardless of what our gender identity is.
Well, there's no reason why we can't be ourselves and share everything we have as individuals, because none of us are the same. We all have different gifts and we all have different things to bring to the world and pathways and different ways of serving. But we find that balance within ourselves by getting to know ourselves first and owning our stuff and owning what we need to heal within ourselves before we can actually be of use as an adult in the world and make a difference to right wrongs. Again, it doesn't need to have a label on it. And Donna, I know that you spoke about the right and left areas of the brain, but it's only considered which part of the brain is masculine and feminine. It's just considered. It's not a proven scientific fact. Our brains are our brains, and sometimes we are more right-brained and sometimes we are more left, depending on whether we're
wired
gifts when we're born, the way we're wired. So,
exactly. But if you go back to medical textbooks, that's how it's defined in generalities. Yes.
In
and
generality,
I know many women who are left brain dominant, which got labeled masculine, the doing. And I know many men who are right brain dominant that got labeled feminine. So throughout the course of history, and if you read and study, it's in the material. So I don't know how hundreds of centuries can be wrong that way. It's just how it was classified. And then I think we internalize it and made it about gender, but it's not about gender. It's how our brains work.
Yes, but I am actually saying that hundreds of generations, just because we've been told something and things have been written in a book, doesn't mean it's right.
Fair enough.
As working in the medical field myself, I know that people who have brain injuries from one situation or another, whether it's an acquired brain injury or a born brain injury, the other side of the brain just does the work of both. So I've never thought, I mean, in science, where I was working, we never said, well, this is your brain, this is your male side, and this is your female side. It was your left side and your right side. This, looks after this part of your body, and this looks after this part of your body. And if this part of your body gets hurt in your brain, it will actually start working from the other side. So,
Oh, absolutely. The brain is a marvelous, marvelous machine, and
Yeah.
it will take over and do things that it just makes more neural pathways where
that's right.
where the others have died off. It's very, very clever, and it will make new neuroplasticity, for example.
Yeah.
We can retrain our brains to get over the trauma and think differently and go on a different path should we choose to do the work. It's fascinating. Thank you. Thank you for that point.
Yeah. So just wanted to point out, I'm not here to have a war with anybody, but I've never thought of the left or right side being male or female. It's just a brain. It can work from either side, and it kicks in when it needs to, whatever it is. Just the way I see it. Anyway, continuing on. Hope, are there practices that you incorporate in your day that we can use to maintain that flowy balance between these different energies that we have to work with?
I do practices such as 4-way breathing. I exercise, I run, I vision board, affirmations. I read books. I learn from others. I use specific essential oils to down. I use different oils to energize my body and my organs, or to deactivate the nervous system. So, for example, something simple like lavender calms the nervous system down. Lavender is emotionally, it interacts with our limbic brain, and it's the oil of communication. So if I'm having trouble verbalizing what I need to say, inhaling lavender speaks to my limbic brain and helps me soften into exactly what I'm trying to communicate, and then be able to verbalize it. Peppermint is an exciting oil. It activates the brain to take action. It's a very motivating oil. And so it's a great one to use to inhale if you want to take action right now. If you want to if you're walking into a job interview and you want to be able to assert yourself or stand in more confidence, peppermint is one I would use. If I want to be able to be more verbal, lavender is one I would use. So those are things that I might do throughout the day that are, for me, as I said before, I believe it's something that we deliberately, it's like we're talking about here, we're realizing these labels are just labels. The label is not the thing itself. It never is. A cup is a thing that we use to drink from, and we label it a cup. But this essence of being in this human vessel and experiencing these various flows of energy, from being more assertive, more dominant, or more aggressive, or more protective, to being more relaxed, kinder, more nurturing, more curious. This human experience that we have throughout the day, we get to be deliberate and choose and decide what would best support my life in this moment right now. And so that's where we get to, I just feel, be more deliberate and choose and decide.
Thank you. Thanks very much. Leslie, what about you? What kind of practices do you incorporate in your day to maintain a flow between these different energies we're speaking about tonight?
Yeah, just piggybacking off what Hope had shared, absolutely doing the tools and practices so that you can be empowered to choose differently. I absolutely love essentials as well. I'm called the oil lady sometimes because I always have them around me. But essentially for me and my clients and the women that I work with, it's about doing the embodiment practices, getting into the body, moving from the head into the heart, whether that's, going out in nature, putting your bare feet on the grass and earthing yourself, or doing a dance break, or shaking your body, really allowing yourself to just feel the breath of your emotions. And really that's all it is. It's just energy in motion, allowing yourself to release it in a healthy way, give it an exit point. So that way, when you release it, then you have the capacity to actually hold something more, hold something different, something new to come into your life. And when we come from that space, then and only then can we be more conscious to choose differently. So it's really about going back into the body, because really it's about having that somatic experience. A lot of us we're up in the head, and what we were trying to do to balance that is coming back into the body, having that mind, body, spirit connection, and choosing from that place.
Thank you. Donna, the difference between living your life from a soul alignment and a brain alignment, or a human experience, how do you balance the flow of those two things in your life to keep the wholeness that we like to experience in our days?
I'm not sure I understand the question, like between a brain alignment and a whole alignment, or
Soul alignment and a human alignment. We're often taught, when we're talking about a soul alignment, we're often talking about a heart alignment. When we're talking about a human alignment, we're talking about a brain doing kind of alignment. Now, how do you balance the two to give yourself a consistent flow of energy that is not overwhelming or imposing on you?
Right. Okay. Yes, our brain, it is our thinking, it's our 10% conscious reality, but the heart space is that 90%, and it's based on feeling. Your feelings are always going to create, because that's the energy that's underneath the thoughts that you are having, that through the law of magnetism is going to bring back to you what you're feeling. So how do you keep that in balance? A couple of different ways. The one way that I look at is when I work and then I stop and I take a break, or I'm going from one activity to the next, I usually find a 2, 3, 5, 10-minute window in there where I can take my own space to regroup and transition to the next thing. And sometimes I'll go 3, 4, 5 hours, and then I have to stop, and then I'll go downstairs, I'll go to a different place, I'll go outside, I'll do a quick walk, just to move the old energy out, to invite the new energy in. Same thing being a mom. With children, when they were really little, we would go somewhere, we would come back, you would get out of the car, go into the house, and then it's mom, 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 mom. And then that was a transition time. So I taught my kids how to transition, that we just walked in the house, I need 2 minutes, and then we regroup. And they learned how to do that and how to take that breathing space. What I do during the day often is I will set a timer, or when I stop an activity, I'll assess how I feel. And if I'm in stress or worry or depression or anxiety or something that I don't want to have, I know that's getting created in my life. So I will stop and I will do this breathing exercise. And if, say, it's stress, what's the opposite? Well, I want to feel peace and calmness. So when you breathe in, you're breathing in oxygen, all the good things your body needs, but you're going to breathe in the word peace. So you think the word peace mentally, and you breathe out stress, and you mentally think that, because you're breathing out the toxins and the carbon dioxide, the things the body doesn't need. So you breathe in peace, breathe out stress, and do that for 2 or 3, 5 minutes, and you will feel a physiological change in your body. And then you can transition or go on to the next thing, or maybe it's return back to work. And when that happens, you have more focus, clarity, and balance. I talk and share a lot about being in the heart space and being heart-centered. It's not all the thinking side, even though I see how our brain works a little bit differently than the rest of the panel. And that's okay, because we're all here to express ourselves and to give different points of view, which I honor each and every one of you for that, because it opens me up to other opportunities. But you really have to live in the heart space and live in that self, that inner centeredness that way, and check in with yourself to have that inner alignment. Otherwise, if you go too far to one extreme or the other, you lose that balance. And our world is made up of two opposites that we're always trying to balance, because we live in a world of duality, hot, cold, left, right, up, down. But there's always that center balancing point With hot, cold, there's warm, left, right, there's a center, up, down, there's a middle. So inward, outward, there's always a center balancing point, no matter which way you look at it. So it's how you balance it. And to me, that is always a universal love force energy of a pure divine energy before it becomes anything else into the world. And that's how I look, and that's how I live my life, and that's what I teach, and that's what I meditate on.
Thank you. Jan, can you tell us why grounding and meditations help keep us centered and in touch with the different energies that we have in our life?
Yes. Excuse me. People have different rituals that they do each day to actually align. Once you're spiritually awake, you know yourself more and you understand where you are going with your emotions. And as Donna said, you know, if you are getting to a point in your day that you're feeling stressed, you understand that that's happened, and you just, if you can fall into a meditative state and find the root of that and just go into a heart-centered space, and you feel aligned again, no matter how long that might take, you know, a minute, 5 minutes, you can center yourself and go on with your day, and your day is lovely. But it is getting to know yourself first and foremost, and getting to know your emotions and getting to understand your emotions and what they're trying to tell you. And once you understand that that emotion is there to give you a hint and to trigger you into understanding, to find the root of that, you can go on and benefit from entering into a sacred space. I call a sacred space. So for me personally, what I do is connect with the divine and my higher self, because we are, your higher self is the divine. So I take a few moments in the morning, because that's a good time for me. And I know when you've got children and careers and things like that, you can't always do it, but find at least 5 minutes somewhere in the day, at least, for yourself to be able to do this, just to connect. And I do something just very, very simple, because I guess being a priestess, I'm in devotion quite a lot, so I connect with the divine and my higher self very fast these days. And I just need to center myself and just ask that higher part of me to just speak to me. And then I listen. I just stop and I listen, and I allow emotions and thoughts and feelings to flow through me and ask for guidance. And very often I'll get answers to questions that I've been pondering. I get ideas and creative ideas just by listening to what she has to say to me. And I know that is labeling a agenda as well, but that's how I connect.
Right.
I find that if I don't do that, my day does not go well. It kind of goes back to normal. And let me explain by that. What I mean by that is, if I do connect, I feel connected the whole day, and I can just stop and ask and enter back into that very quick connection space. However, if I don't start my day off like that, things start to happen during your day that you have, they just kind of happen around you, and you have no control is not the right word, but you have no insight into seeing why something is happening, and it can just spiral into having a really rotten day. So for me, I have to do that connection, otherwise I have a rotten day, to put it bluntly.
So things happen to you rather than for you.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Kelly, can you unmute for a second, because I have a question for you. You said that it sounds like we need new naming conventions. Do you have anything you'd like to propose towards that?
God, putting me on the spot.
I am.
Because the concept itself
is similar but in different expressions across all of you. That's kind of what I'm hearing. But doesn't it come back to something like it is the yin and the yang, right? It's about balance, it's whether it's masculine, feminine, yin, yang, it's all balance. So yeah, it sounds like it's almost semantics that are tripping everyone up, and maybe that's also what trips everyone up, like from a normal person perspective. That people don't quite gravitate towards. And even as I was trying to explain this to people, this idea of masculine, feminine energy, it is really hard because you really have to try deliberately to make that distinction between gender or male, female versus energetically. And it confuses people, right? So maybe it's in the way, like I said, I know people are talking about boxes. I do agree with that. But sometimes it's easier for people need to logically understand things. You know, we have a propensity as human beings to understand. So I think that's where the notion of boxes or labels just start coming in. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It just helps people understand and connect with things more. So maybe it becomes about what we need to put out in the world to, what are some new naming conventions? Or is it yin and yang rather than male, female? I don't know.
Thank you. That's actually very helpful, I hope. If there's anybody else out there who's listening to us who wants to have us answer a question or has something to say, please feel free to let us know. We're always open to more interpretations of what it is we're discussing. And back to our discussing. Okay, so Leslie, I'm having a really bad day. What would be your go-to to help ground yourself, center yourself, and bring you back into a gentle flow?
Yeah, having a bad day, that happens. Life's in session with the human experience. So a few things would be breath work, coming back to the breath. It's the one thing we can physiologically can control and helps to just automatically calm and regulate the nervous system. So breath work
Where do people learn
would be
about breath?
my big encouragement. And another one that I do with my women clients is a dance break. Like get up, get into your body and just move. Just move. Allow yourself to feel the breath of your emotions. There's an embodiment practice that I do where it's like you allow yourself to feel the grief, the sadness, the anger, the rage, and then always end it with turn on. Allow yourself to feel pleasure. So it's easy for most women, I'm not going to say all women, we're not putting labels, that we can access our sadness, but not our anger. So if we can allow ourselves a safe and sacred space and container where we can feel the full breadth of our emotions, and it's okay to feel that. And it's through feeling it, emoting it, that we can actually transmute that into a passion, into a purpose. So I love breath work and I love dance breaks.
Thank you. Donna, how do you feel about women sharing all their emotions whenever they hit them, or is there a place and a time?
Share all their emotions when?
Whenever they are struck by them.
Interesting question. I think every person is allowed to demonstrate, show, and share who they are, because that makes you your authentic self in the moment. Is it appropriate for every context, time, and place? I think that's going to be up to the individual. I know if I'm on stage speaking and I have this emotion hit, if it's not in the context of my speech, I'm probably not going to display it very well out, because it's not proper to do that from that venue or that environment. But you're always live your life authentically, be open, share what's in your heart space, absolutely, with that, because that's who you are. But the when and where and the whys and the hows, I think that's going to be an individual person perspective.
Thank you. Hope, do you want to let me know how you feel about this discussion we've been having, and perhaps some practices other people can use in their life to make it a pleasant experience more often?
Yeah, I love tree oils are really grounding. Like what what Leslie's talking about, when we walk outside, we put our feet on the ground, we feel the earth around us. The Japanese call it forest bathing, when they walk through big tall trees, and the energy connection with the trees is like it cleans our aura. And so tree essential oils, whether that's cedar wood or frankincense or Douglas fir, spruce, those oils tend to ground our nervous system. And then breath work is something that always connects us back to our spirit. It's the bridge between our body and who we are, which is spirit. Sometimes we forget to breathe. We're so enwrapped in our business or our job or the thing that we're doing, and the body tends to move into shallow breathing, using essential oils or getting out near plants, or it helps open up our breath to reconnect us into breathing. Another statement I like to use with my clients when I'm working with an individual or a family member or families is to begin to ask questions like, what am I believing about this? What am I believing about what's happening? And it's an exercise of curiosity to begin to look at what our judgments are about what's happened throughout this day. Like, how did you get to the point where you think it's a bad day? And begin to walk backwards through our beliefs, through what we're judging, and begin to recognize mental patterns, begin to recognize judgments or assertions that then take us out of a space of sacred balance with who we really are, that sacred connection that Donna and Jan were talking about earlier, where if we're staying in the center, the sacred center of who we really are, everything flows. It really doesn't matter what happens throughout the day. We're golden the whole time.
Right.
And that's where we really all want to stay living. So it's learning these practices to find out, like, how do we disempower ourselves? How do we derail ourselves? What are the patterns that we've learned from others that derail ourselves? And we have wonderful tools around us, like plants and breath work and essential oils and meditative practices, but they all are just going to point us back to here. How do you come back to this center? And how do you find that golden space of, I am me. I'm simply me, and I'm grounded, and I'm safe, and I'm present, and I can decide. And so these are the kinds of practices that I like to share with people and help them have in their hands tools and experiences that they can take into their day, so they begin to direct their day.
Thank you. And Jan, any last words on helping people do the inner work so they can start to find balance within their own energies?
Yes, be available. I think because we are all women who have many, many tools to help heal, we just be available to people. There are a lot of people out there that don't have any tools whatsoever to be able to understand there is a different way of living, and not a way of living through chaos each and every day, and do not have any tools at all to help them. So it's a bit difficult to reach everybody, but how do we make room in our own lives to actually recognize someone who needs help, someone who may not be able to afford the things we offer? I guess just to make ourselves available to possibly pass something on to a person out of kindness and compassion, to help them, rather than only people who can afford it. And I'm not judging at all. We need to charge something. We need to have an energy exchange for what we bring to the world. But also there are people that come along occasionally that we need to be available for, to help teach the tools of all these things that we've been talking about, the breath work, meditation, they're just getting to know you and how to deal with your emotions and finding the root cause of things, just to be available. I think is the most important thing, to see an opportunity and just say, well, I'm going to give this to this person because I know that's really what they need. They really need help along.
Thank you. That's lovely. Okay, we're almost ready to wrap up. Is there anything else that any one of you would like to contribute to the discussion before we say goodbye? Go ahead, Hope.
Yeah, I just think that this is an intuitive thing, that when you're out of balance because you don't like your life. And you don't need to call it any kind of label or dissect it or analyze it endlessly to try and figure it out. You know when things are out of balance, and so often we kind of have an idea of what we need to do. And definitely, if you see a path that feels like a path to a solution, and there are many, you need to take action. Like, go now, take action now, step forward now, ask for what you need. You know, if you don't think you can afford it, try anyway. Ask for a discount. Get the book, buy the download, do the course, reach out to the person, take the action that you need to take action on. I think there's a lot of people who are standing in inaction, but know what they need to do. And I would just say, go do it, because you will never regret living in the golden space of your own life, and you will wish you'd done it sooner. So take action.
That's lovely. Thank you. Leslie, do you have any parting gifts for us?
Yeah, absolutely. Taking action. And I think a big part that I found healing for myself and for the women that I work with is to do this work with other women. It's when we uplift each other. One of my mentors says a rising tide lifts all boats. And so for far too long, we've been doing things and going at life alone. So part of the healing and part of recognizing, embracing what is that root cause of us pushing through the pain and going so much is also being part of being seen and being heard and being held with other women, and knowing that you're not alone. You're not alone in how you feel and your desires and how you want to feel and what you want in your life. And so I feel that that's a big piece of coming into that, whether it's balance, center, or however semantically we're going to call it, or however you want to call it, is doing this work with other like soul people that are on the path, that can reflect that back to you, because we having this human experience. And so, like I think Donna had shared, this earth is full of polarity, and that's how we experience life. And so just to have those other people in our life to keep reflecting back to us our beauty, our strengths, our true self, our true nature, and to do that for each other. And that's how we will empower each other and change the world.
Thank you. And Donna, if you go ahead and give us your summation of what we've been talking about today, see if we can help
Sure.
some more people.
One of the things that I think about listening to all of the different panelists here, every single one of you, we've touched on what to do to get out of a bad day, or if you're not having a good time, and how to get yourself recentered and focused. And so for me, that's, yes, when you're out of that balance, you're out of that harmony. And so a lot of times we call those vices. And really, to get back into that internal balance for myself, it's moving towards the virtues. And so what I'm going to share and offer with you is a way to align your inner chakras, your inner energy centers with virtues. And this is something that I also do, but it's, would you like to have the ability to stand in peace, to create the balance, to be the joy, to feel the love, to speak the gratitude, hear the harmony, see the beauty, and for you to know your truth? And that's all that's needed to pull you back into that alignment when you go through those virtues, and it will whole and complete you every time.
Thank you. That was lovely. Well, I want to thank all our amazing panelists this evening. I really enjoyed this discussion. I'm hoping that the people who had a chance to come and listen to us also enjoyed it. And Kelly, thanks for chiming in there. It was nice. It was nice to hear. Does anybody? Yes. Hope. Did you have something there?
No, I was grateful for Kelly's participation and viewpoint.
I'm very grateful for Sophia for providing this type of space for all of us to have these discussions. I'd like to have a whole bunch more with all you beautiful ladies. So thank you so much, everybody. Sophia, if you want to go ahead and wrap things up first, that'd be awesome.
I will. And thank you, Gretchen, for hosting, for facilitating this amazing discussion. Has been really, really wonderful. I've been sitting there listening while posting everyone's links up and things. It's a really recommend for anyone who's watching us live or even on the replay just to go in. There's some words, wonderful words of wisdom here. And I'd like to thank all you beautiful women for joining us. First of all, before we do wrap up, does anyone have any offers, any giveaways that they'd like to give the audience? We are putting your links in the comments, but does anyone want to share anything while we are online? Very quickly. Yes, Hope.
I do. I have a complimentary ebook, 100 Ways to Use Essential Oils to Manage Your Health, Emotional and Physical. And it's something that I give away for free as a tool for others to use. So they just need to email me or reach out to me on my website.
Right, so that's on your website. Wonderful. Mm-hmm. Thank you. And Leslie, what about your beautiful self?
Well, thank you for the invitation, Sophia. Yeah, just coming off my TEDx, I am doing my last virtual event of the year. It's a 3-day free feminine power challenge called It's Your Choice, 3 Steps to Live on Purpose and in Your Feminine Power. So that starts on September 14th, next week on Wednesday. And I think you have the links to that you can drop. And I would love for those of you that resonate with wanting to replace your fear and anxiety with your innate power as a woman, I'd love for you to come and join us.
Good. Thank you. And we'll certainly look at that. And those links are in your website as well? Yep. We've been posting all that. Okay. And Donna,
Yes.
would you like to share anything very, very quickly?
Yep, I'll just put the link here in the chat that you can share. And what I can give away, complimentary, it's 5 free steps to instantly create. And it's a 16-minute instructional video followed by a 6-minute meditation that you would just be doing.
Good. Thank you. Thank you ever so much. And last but not least, we're almost Jan, what about yourself? Tell us a little bit if you've got any giveaways, and I'd also like to know a little bit about your tribe.
Oh, yes. Okay. Well, first of all, I would like to say to all the beautiful ladies here, thank you, sisters. It was beautiful to meet you. I loved chatting with you and all the different aspects of us as one. So thank you very much. It was beautiful to interact with you. My tribe with the Sacred You community is the Many Faces of Goddess, and we meet once per month at 10 a.m. the second Saturday of the month, Australian Eastern Standard Time, and each month we discuss a different energy of Goddess, a different face of Goddess, and what that Goddess energy means to us living in the modern world, and how we can interact and change some things within us by looking at that energy that we can tap into, the divine feminine, which I love. And as a giveaway, I'm actually thinking about doing an ebook or a meditation. I haven't got round to it yet. However, if anyone would like a free Goddess Oracle card reading, I would like to give that to whoever would like to take that up. You're muted, Sophia. There you are.
I forgot that I muted myself because I've got dogs. Thank you, Jan. I was going to say I'll take that up, but we've put your links in the comments. If anyone wants to get in touch with Jan, please reach out to her. And just quickly, we have had a comment which I apologise I've only just seen, but we've had a comment from the audience. An amazing thought and feeling provoking discussion. Thank you so much for sharing your energy, and that's coming from Corinne. So thank you for joining us, Corinne. It's wonderful. And Miss Kitty, otherwise known as our beautiful host of the Self-Love Puzzle Pieces tribe. Gretchen, would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself? Because I know you didn't get to introduce yourself, and also about your tribe.
Yeah, I'm a transformation coach. I'm also a nurse and a healer, and I have a tribe in the Sacred You Love community called Self-Love Puzzle Pieces. It is open to both to anyone who would like to come and join us as we talk about all the pieces that ground us in a foundation of love, loving ourselves, loving everyone around us, and moving us forward in a state of bliss and alignment. So you're welcome to join us on, oh my goodness, I forgot, Tuesdays. Tuesdays at 9 o'clock, that's Eastern Daylight Time. I believe that's 11 a.m. on Wednesday morning, AEST, and it's 6 p.m. in the Pacific time zone. So please feel free to come and join us. We're thinking of going back to once a week because I've actually had quite a few requests for that. So right now we do it fortnightly. We just had one, so we'll be doing another one in 2 weeks. But please reach out if you'd like to come in and have a chat with us. The more the merrier, and the more exciting it becomes. Thank you.
Thank you, Gretchen. And again, thank you for facilitating. Coming up tomorrow, this time tomorrow, we have How Does Self-Talk Change Your Perspective and Success? And everyone, of course, is more than welcome to join us online or come and join us on Zoom, which our beautiful Kelly has joined us today. And I hope Kelly has had a wonderful time too. And I've got a dog in the background who wants some attention. And before we go, if anyone is interested in finding out more about the Sacred You, our sacred community, do click on the links in the comments. We've got everything there. And you can join us now. Join us now just for $1 Australian. And you get to try out Jan's Goddess, Faces of the Goddess tribe. You get to join Gretchen's Self-Love Puzzle Pieces tribe, and all our other tribes. We've got about 30 tribes. That is all part of the membership. You can join us for $1. You get to try it out for 3 weeks, just for $1 Australian. And after that, it's just $15 Australian a month. And on that note, because I've got a bit of noise in the background, I'm going to say farewell to everyone who's watching us. Thank you to all your beautiful people who have joined us today. It's been a really wonderful discussion, and I just want to honor you all for stepping up into your power, whatever that power is. Whether it's the feminine, the masculine, whether it's just the being, the power of just being. It's been wonderful. So thank you.
Thank you so much,
Thank
everyone.
you.
It's amazing.